Good afternoon, Sean Air Mountains Garage. It's a beautiful December day, mid-40s, and I'm going to take advantage of the wonderful weather and get more prepared for the inevitable snowfall. Most years, I've already plowed snow by now and it's piled up back there. Been fortunate this year and I'm really not ready for snow. And I got another arrival of some junk today, so the idea of these shop life videos, and I get a lot of suggestions. People want to see more background stuff, believe it or not. So it's all loosely tied to the shop. I'm outside the shop today. Let's talk about what's going on out here. I have a good friend of mine has a shop 10 minutes from my house. The summer of 2019, he and I made a deal on a bunch of Nova parts and miscellaneous parts, but he has Novas too. He's a fellow Nova lover and a lifetime friend. Great guy. I paid him and I took a truckload that day, and I had to go back for a few things. Finally today, another friend of mine, co-friend, was going down there to do something else, and he picked up all my stuff and brought it back. This Camaro subframe, I know it's a 68 Camaro, came out of a friend's car, 67 or 8. I think this is the third time it's come back to me, and this time it's going to stay, because I think this would make a much better engine run test stand than the one I'm using. The one I'm using is pretty nice, and this isn't, so I wouldn't mind welding on this one. Probably nothing permanent, but it's already got some stuff welded on. This is an old drag car. It's had engine plates and holes cut in it, and the front end's been clipped off, which I've had to do on several Nova subframe swaps, so that's not a big deal. I'm glad it's back. In the cardboard box with all the pink peanuts, which unfortunately most of them blew into the back of the pickup and into other parts that I'm going to show you. But that's a brand new Ultra Bell for a Power Glide, and I have a couple Power Glides I'm going to build. It's brand new, probably outdated, but that's okay. This Nova hood with about a 4-inch cowl, maybe a 6, I don't know, I've got to measure it. The summer before last, when I picked up all the other parts, I have the middle of it that I could glass back in. But this will be a perfect hood for the 72, which is behind that door. You probably can't see it through the hole. But I'm actually building a Tunnel Ram 421 small block, one of the many engine options it could have, and this would be a good candidate for that. He had a big block motor plate, brand new, still in the box. There's a big block oil pan, which also found some peanuts. So I gotta find a home for this stuff, but that's not what we're doing outside right now. Any day or night now, we're gonna get snow, and my tractor will have the V plow on it, sitting here in V formation, and I plow. You gotta have a method of your madness. I put it in V and I plow up the first hill, and then there's 2 other hills up there I have to do. But I don't come back down here to move the snow. I just make a V path to get up there, and I do the upper part first. My thinking is, one, if just say the tractor broke down, at least the house is accessible, and down here is secondary. I wouldn't expect the tractor to break down, but I worked in the snowplow industry. You never know. Things could break, hoses break. So I want to at least get a path to the road. So I'm not going to go all the way up here. So when I come back down to plow, you can see when I placed the garage, I was thinking I could plow past the doors, because that's always a concern. I used to plow driveways for people sometimes, and let's say the garage is where the tractor is. That's kind of difficult if there's no other place to push past it, because I'm pushing a big blade of snow. I V my way up the hill, and then I do the rest in scoop. It's a 9.5-foot blade, and it'll push snow. Even before I chain it up, it has no problem pushing snow and stacking it 15 feet high. But I got to get it to a place I can pile it. So I'm coming down this hill with a big charge of snow. And last year, I left the International, which is under the silver top, right there. But it was wide open over here, except for the green box. But I had plenty of room to miss it, and I could actually pull in there and back drag in front of the door, because otherwise I got to hand shovel it. So long story short, I'm going to move the International today. I'm going to put it over here. I'll show you where it's going to go. The trailers are going to live up here this year because we're cutting trees down here. So the International is going to live where the bucket and the blade is right now in front of the white van. And the bucket truck was here last year. The green, I guess the bucket truck, man, I don't remember if it was or not, to be honest with you. Maybe I only got it this spring. I really don't remember. No, I definitely got it this spring. It did not winter here last year. And this whole area, the tan box is new, obviously. I had room to push snow over to the woods, and now I don't. This area is just, I'm going to plow past it, and this is just a dead area now, so putting the International over here makes more sense. One of the goals of my logging operation back here is to get rid of some trees that are kind of in the way and leaning the wrong way anyway. And there's a hill just past where you can see those stumps, and I want to be able to push the snow off the hill, because when I start plowing in November or December and stacking it back here, I'm coming all the way from the upper driveway. We're talking 200 or 300 feet worth of snow. These piles get high, and there's been years where it'll come out to where I'm standing almost, depending on how much snowfall we get. So now I'm cutting more. I'll be able to go, I've pretty much got a path to get to the hill here. I have more stumps to dig out, and they're getting bigger. Little stumps are a piece of cake. Big ones, you gotta really plan ahead. The junkyard is looking kind of sad, but I haven't covered up my mower yet. The Nova's gone that was here. These are, projects waiting in parts. You gotta have junk, and it's pretty well hidden from the road, so. I envision someday either a garage here, cut the trees behind where this junk is. Again, I could come down and plow past the doors, which is important. I want to be able to push this way, so it wouldn't be over here. If I did, I have to plan accordingly. And this whole area here is relatively flat. My lot is not really flat, so I try to take advantage. It's taken me quite a few years to get this far, but this will be a nice flat area. It'll be relatively easy to haul in fill and make something out of over here, maybe another storage area. And I've been dreaming of ways to get power down here if it was an actual working shop, but probably just for storage. But I'm just daydreaming right now. It does cost money to daydream, but well, that's why you get up in the morning. The wood will be leaving. That's part of the deal. My buddy wants the wood, so he comes and cuts it and hauls it away. I help when I can. I've been cutting woods in this property since I bought it in 1991. Again, I've mentioned I don't enjoy it, but don't have much choice sometimes. The whole area I just showed you where the garage is, that was all trees, and it looked just like this. Only probably not as thin as this. And there's old stone walls here from hundreds of years ago. This used to be a farm. But one day as I'm cutting, I come across this. Now someday, and there was a stump next to it. Somebody set their gas can down when they were cutting trees with the chainsaw, obviously. And it's still here. I don't disturb it. It's not too far from my actual big shop. But I leave it there as a constant reminder that when you think you're doing something for the first time, somebody was probably there before you. I had a 34 horse Kubota open cab when I started building the garage down here in 2006. I bought it that summer. I was never impressed with it, and of course in the wintertime, if you used it for snow removal, which I ended up doing toward the end of it, it wasn't ideal. And I knew emissions with a DEF and particulate filter on diesels were even coming to small tractors. So I had a pretty short window to sell the Kubota and a bunch of other stuff, because I had to come up with a lot of money to buy this Mahindra. And I know some people like Mahindra, some people don't. This is actually a rebranded TYM, which is a good reputation tractor from Taiwan. I think Taiwan. There's no tractors made in America, so before you jump on the John Deere bandwagon, that's a Yanmar. It's made in China. So there are no tractors under 100 horsepower made in America, period. But I'm not going to get off on a rant about foreign stuff. That's just the way it is. So the Kubota was actually pretty good at starting in the wintertime. But the old Mahindra's been pretty good. I bought it in 2011. And this is a cold start. I'm going to give it probably 5 to 8 seconds worth of glow plug. About the time the radio kicks on. And she's running. She's a little smoky at first. But she clears right up. I treat my fuel. Knock on wood, I've never had a problem. For now, the Nova Clip will weather under this nice tree right here. Perfect. Now I snowplow at 1800. I don't know if you can see that. Focus. But everything else I do at idle. The other day we were pulling down a tree. My buddy has cable. We had a pulley around the tree, and I'm in a position to back up, pull the tree down. We get to the critical point where I need to back up, and it was too much load for idle, and I actually stalled the tractor, but I ended up getting it restarted and the tree down where it belonged. Now that I'm pulling trees down, I go above idle. For all this kind of work here, it just sits there and idles all day. I'm in high range, excuse me, medium range on the second transmission, and it's pretty fast. Having everything on the quick attach is definitely the way to go. I had to drop off the forks so I can move the bucket and the plow. It really speeds up the operation. I dumped off the bucket, and now I'm hooking into the blade. I made the whole plate system for the blade. It works really well. I'll show it to you someday. The trick is to think ahead where you want to put this junk so it's not in the way, and you have to move it again. I spent a lot of time moving stuff, it seems. I try to think ahead, but things change. My trick to not getting out is I hang my head out the window, just watch the left side. I know if it clears there, it's going to hook in the other side too, most of the time. Well, my driveway has a little bit of healing to do, but I envision someday having a cement apron here. I had plywood under the rear jack stands, my nice snap-on jack stands, the best ones I got. I've been outside for 2 years. I just put a sling over a frame cross member, which allowed me to pivot, and parking it was a piece of cake. I originally went under the fuel cell, has some mounts that I don't care about, but the fuel cell's brand new. Really didn't want to wreck that, but that would not allow me to turn. So under my left foot in the tractor all the time is a sling I should have used in the first place, but well, you know, sometimes you think of it secondary. Someday I'll take the top off and we'll do a whole tour of the International project. It's on a square body frame that's been pieced together, semi-welded. It has a lot of good raw material, and that's about it. All I've done is build an exhaust system out of spare parts that I had, and put some 4-inch lift springs and a Dana 60 under the front that I rebuilt. Now I got to put a matching rear end under it. 8-lug, 410 gear. I put a track lock in the front. I'm going to put some kind of locker in the back. I'll never probably off-road, but you know, might as well build it. On the off chance I might, or somebody else might want to. All that dirt fell out of that subframe. No big deal. That S10, I put it up for sale twice. People fought over it, begged me to hold on to it for them. Both times nobody showed up. This time I gave it to a friend of mine. He was going to come get it. Still here. I think he'll come get it though. That's the way it goes. But I pushed snow past that door up onto that hill. The unloading device, which is a battery powered pallet stacker, wicked handy for unloading stuff, transmissions and engines and stuff. It lives right there. Quick story on the International. I took an engine in trade. Took the guy's word it was everything he said it was. It wasn't. I let that bother me for a couple years. Fixed up the engine, traded it for a car, traded the car for a chopper, traded the chopper for this International project. So in the end, it worked out. I'm happy with the result. Making lemonade out of lemons, as they say, right? The tires go flat about every 6 months, so I add them up before I moved it over here, and I thought ahead this time and put some blocking under it, so at least it'll hold it up level, because it usually only goes flat on the driver's side, and then it gets all twisted. I don't really want it falling off my beautiful snap-on jack stands that are now living under the back. Again, they're kind of protected. They'll be fine. All right, again, we'll review this project another day. It's about a half an hour till the sun goes down. I'm going to go in the garage and try to do something productive and then go make supper. Thanks for following along this afternoon. Like and subscribe. I'll talk to you next time.